Hey everybody, how you doing? That's Fame. I did a version of David Bowie's Fame, and it's available on iTunes. So if you go in there, it's actually 100 digital outlets, as we showed on the live thing, on the live broadcast. It's available on 100 digital outlets. How about that? Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, so today a lot of people ask me about making beats. Well, making beats to me is recording music, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to just take a very basic recording session, and we're going to come up with some beats, as you guys call it. And let's see, let me get it up here so we can get everything going. New software, still learning how to get all this happening. All right, here we go. I've already opened up Apple Logic, which you're going to see over here. Okay, this is Apple Logic, this program, right? And this is the way that professional people record. There are several programs out there. Some people use Fruity Loops, some people use Ableton, a lot of people use Ableton. I happen to use Apple Logic because it's great for dragging and dropping beats, which is something I'm going to show you how to do. And it's also great for doing really high-end professional mixing. A lot of people use Pro Tools. Pro Tools is a great piece of software, but personally for me, Pro Tools doesn't have a very deep MIDI implementation. What's MIDI? It's called Musical Instrument Digital Interface. And in the old days, it was a bunch of, I don't think I have a MIDI cable here? It's so obsolete, I don't even have MIDI cables here anymore. But you used to be able to plug like this synthesizer into this synthesizer, and then back up to, to this synthesizer over here, and they would all stay synchronized. But we don't need that anymore because everything is all in your computer. So MIDI is a way of writing musical notes and getting a piece of equipment like this monster over here to play, right? So you can write the notes on the screen, and if you have a proper setup, which we're not going to go through now, you can write a note on the screen and it'll trigger a note over here through a wired cable. This is not a MIDI cable, but actually it's USB, and today it's all done through USB. MIDI has been replaced with this. All right, so let's do some basic beats, and for your more advanced users, you're going to know some of this, but I'm going to show you something called Loop Cloud, which is really, really, really cool. Allows you to find beats and bass lines and all kinds of things online. They give you some free sounds to start off with, but they just had a sale that ended where you can get 80 or 90 full-length sample CDs for something like $100, $100 US, which was amazing. We'll show that in a minute. So here we go. We got Apple. This will be, what I'm doing here, you could probably do on any piece of software that you have, right? So if you're using Fruity Loops or Ableton Live, you could drag and drop beats in, and you can use Loop Cloud. So let's start with the basic. I'm going to go over here on the right-hand side, upper right, and there's some icons here. This third one over, is a loop. Can you see it? It's circle, like a loop. I'm going to open that up. And I've already, when exploring for some loops, so I typed in the word over here, hip hop, right? Right in here in this search directory. And come up with some beats, and I can see what those beats sound like just by clicking on them. Right? And here's what's cool. If I want to make this faster, I'm at the top over here, at the very top. I'm going to speed this up. And it's not following. Why not? Alright, I don't know why. It will follow in a minute. So let's take this beat and let's drag this beat into Logic. And as you see, I just dragged and dropped it from the side window over here over to here. Now, on Logic, I could hit play up here, or I could hit my space bar. I'm going to use my space bar, and we should hear this beat come in as soon as I bring up the volume. Okay, there's our beat. This yellow line is showing us that we're looping it, right? So we're at 5 bars, 4 bars. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, right? I'd love for you to do these sessions, by the way, with headphones on, because I'm trying to keep the audio as clean as possible. So if you have some earbuds, go and grab them, put them in. If you're listening on your laptop, throw those headphones in on the side. It's going to make a huge difference on what I'm explaining, especially when I'm doing things like EQing and putting in lower frequencies and higher frequencies that won't come out of a tiny little speaker on your phone or on a tablet. Use your Bluetooth headphones. If you remember, when you log into these things, get your ears plugged in. You'll hear stuff unless you're on a studio setup like I am, where you can put it up on the speakers. All right, so we got a beat, we got a loop, right? Now, at this point, if you're a musician, you can go, let's move this, let's put that beat up at the top there. At this point, let me blow this up so you guys can see this on a much better situation. There we go. Wow, that's pretty big. Let's make it a little smaller. Okay, there's our beat and our waveform of the beat. Great thing with Apple Logic is to have something we called elastic audio. And that's this little button here. And we could tell it we want this to analyze what's going on. And it just did it really, really fast. And now we could play this beat, and we're going to change the tempo. I turned the click on so you guys can hear it better. Let's speed it up. So you get a feel for your song. Okay? That's simply as simple as changing the speed. You go in here, an Apple Logic, a lot of programs do it automatically. You tell Logic to do it because it doesn't know whether you intentionally want this piece of audio at a different speed. You can not only stretch beats, you could stretch vocals, you can stretch bass lines, whatever you want. You could drag and drop and stretch it in, and it all goes in sync. And if you have this blue, right over here, this blue, it looks like a bow tie on there. Let's see, let me see if I can blow this stuff up. No, let me see if I can zoom in for you. Yeah, I can, look at this. Okay, up here on the top, you can't see that, can you? No. Let's see, how do I do this? Let me see if nope, that's not working either. How do I make this work for you guys? Right over here, there's a little bow tie. Anyway, let me zoom back out. It's not handling this pretty well. That's the way to use elastic audio. You put it on, and on the track, you turn the little bow tie on, and there we go. Okay, at this point, if you're a musician, you could do something as simple as right-clicking, create an empty MIDI region. Remember I said MIDI is musical instrument digital interface. It's the way that notes talk to equipment like this. But in our case, we're not going to be using equipment like this. We're going to be using something called plugins, and they're known as VSTs, or audio units, or audio plugins. This piece of equipment and the equipment that this originated from has now been modeled by a supercomputer and turned into a little plugin. You know, like on Instagram, you have a plugin where you have little noses and faces and all that kind of stuff. Or if you've done a Photoshop filter and you have a plugin that makes it look old and like 1950s old photography or black and white, those are plugins. Audio has plugins too. And these plugins will allow you to do, different, plug in different sounds, or synthesizers in this case. So we're going to create an empty MIDI region, and here's a 2-bar, from bar 1 to bar 2, loop of sound. So in this case, I'm going to make this repeat over and over again by dragging the top right corner, and now it's 4 bars. Okay? Now right now there's no sound associated with this. Is this a keyboard? Is this a bass line? Is this another drum instrument? Is this a special effect? Well, let me double click on this, and look, a window down here opens up, and this is your MIDI input. This is where you put in your MIDI notes. Let's choose a sound. So I'm going down here on the left, and it says instrument. Let me load up. Well, actually I have a repo right here. It's all ready to go. I'm going to load up this instrument, and you're going to see what's going to pop up. This is a VST, Virtual Studio or Synthesizer Technology, right? This is an actual synthesizer, right? Pretty cool. So I have a couple of little, let's make a sound from scratch. Now to do that, we need we're using the sound as a template. This is not our final sound. Go back over here, down here to this window, and if you look, if I press these notes, so let's put in a couple of notes. I made a mistake on that note. And let's make the note a little longer. Let's see what we get. Here it's repeating it over and over again. I actually want that last one to go down a note. Just a little personal choice. So let me come back here and make this 3 bars long. And I'm going to take this. I'm going to hold down my Option key. And down there at the bottom it says copy region 1. Yes, I'm doing that to here. And I only want this to be 1 bar. And I want this to go down. Okay. So now this is all one musical sequence. Okay, shorten that note a little bit. So let's go in and get a sound. Okay, now this is for people that are musicians and know how to use this. We'll do whole things on synthesizers and all that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to show how quick and easy it is to get a song and a beat up and running. All right, I'm going to show you in a second, if you can't write music like this, there are loop libraries, and I'm going to show you how that works in a minute. So let's just get a quick sound on this. All right, I'm not going to explain the sound process over here because if you don't know what it is, it's too complicated, but you can just watch along as I start shaping the sound. It's starting to sound like a bass part, if you know my music. This is something that I used a lot. There we go. Okay. for now, we're going to say we like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this, but that instrument is still associated with this channel. Now, to me, this is a little dry, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some reverb to this to give it a little bit of spice in there. And we're going to go through all these plugins. I'm just right now just showing you how quickly you could do music. So I'm going to add a reverb unit right now. These are all my plugins. Now let's add a little reverb to that bass line. There we go. If you're listening with headphones, like you should, you're going to hear this suddenly came into a bigger space. Okay, now at this point, we've got this loop. Nothing great, not a hit record, I'm just showing you. So we can go back over here on the right-hand side, and I want to choose a loop to put in here. So let's go for electric guitar and type in the word funk. Okay, now, if you don't know about music, your software may be able to help you. Right up here on the top bar, it says that we're at 100 beats per minute and we're in C major. That's this thing over here. It's analyzing the notes that you put in and telling you, hey, you're in C major. So what we can do is we can go into funk guitar, and on the right hand side over here, there's something that says key. And now it's going to sort everything by the key of C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If you don't know what that means, you do know how to see that this is in the key of C. And over here, the first couple of things are in C. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this sound. I'm going to bring the volumes down a little bit. And we're going to go search for, let's say, a funky guitar sound, all right? All right, let's try with the first one. That's pretty good. Let's see what else is there. I'm going to go to the next sample. In my particular case, I like both. So let's take this one. We're literally dragging it into place on a new track. Logic will automatically make a track. They put a little icon here for guitar, right? Now I want to loop this so it's twice as long. And let's take a listen to what we've got. Now, that's kind of cool. I mean, for instant stuff. Let's put that one in with it. But I'm going to start it a little later. So let's pan this guitar over to one side and this guitar over to another. I hope you're listening with headphones. Okay. You could do this with any software. You could do this with GarageBand. You could do this with Ableton Live. Basically, these are just modular pieces of music that you're lining up like bricks. This is a word processor for audio. It's the best way, if you don't know what this is, to explain it. So I want to put something else in here now. I'm going to show you something called Loop Cloud, which is so friggin' cool. All right, Loop Cloud is made by Loop Masters. They're the largest library of audio loops on the planet right now. So this is Loop Cloud, and what this is, each one of these things are sample CDs. Let's just put it that way, sample CDs, okay? And these sample CDs all contain loops. So I'm going to go into, I'm just taking anything random, club, funk, and new disco. And I'm going to go to wave loops. And let's go to melody loops. Now, I got to do something. Down here, you see this column of purple at the very bottom? It's hard for you guys to see, but there's a lightning. This is going to connect to Logic. Now, check this out. I'm going to create a new instrument, which is not audio, it's software. Loop Cloud has, as I mentioned before, a plugin, and that plugin allows you to browse through their audio library, but puts it in Logic or in Ableton, and you can actually hear those samples that you either have or want to buy in your existing composition, right? So I created a new instrument because in Logic you have a choice of either creating over here instruments or some audio, like something you use a microphone. These are presets. I don't particularly like them, but you can actually, they have virtual drummers and you set it for rock, dance, whatever, electronica, jazz, and it'll make a drummer and try to follow along. I don't think it's very good. It's not so great. And this is if you want to connect your guitar to it through an input. You can buy little plugs, USB plugs, and plug your guitar. This will set up a whole series of effects like distortion, so you can have your guitar running. But in this case, we made a software instrument, and I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go to my external plugins, and I'm going to go to Loop Masters right here. And see, it says Loop Cloud. I know it may be very hard for you guys to see on small devices. That's okay. Some small devices allow you to broadcast to your TV if you have a Samsung TV, an Apple TV, and right at the top there's that little, I think it looks like a TV set with lines to it, and it says plus, and you can go send it. If you hit that, you may be able to send that, and this will blow up on a large TV for you guys to see. Anyway, I'm going to upload the Loop Cloud thing. Here's a Loop Cloud plugin. We really don't have to monitor this. I'm going to take this away. And when we go back over to Loop Cloud, and I want to listen to something, I'm going to click this. All right, you hear that? Look where it's coming up. It's coming up here, and you have full control of the audio from here. Now, let me stop this. Say I want to hear this. What does this sound like with my track? Let's go back here and start our track that we did. Let's go to Loop Cloud and see what that sounds like. So that's not working for me, right? Why is it not working for me? Because it's in the key of A. You won't be able to see that if you don't have a big display, but this column right here shows it's in the wrong key. But Loop Cloud has a fix for this. Let me turn down the audio for a second so you can hear me better. Loop Cloud has a fix for this. And that fix is you can go in here and tell it we're in the key of C and hit auto key. Now it's transposing that piece of music we just heard into the right key. Check this out. Let's go to some other pieces here. Pretty damn cool. Now, that particular piece of music, that particular flute thing that we just heard, is in the key of E. But Loop Cloud made it into C. Watch. That's where it is. But we wanted to match our audio. it's transposing that on the fly to mix with your particular track, whatever key you've written this in. Now we can go ahead and search for stuff that we like, right? Let's go search for some sounds. You know what? Let's take that. All right, so what I do is I click on this and I drag this. It says keep your mouse key depressed. I'm taking this and now I'm dragging this into Logic. Can you see back here? And there's our track. I want to say something. Loop Cloud is free. The sounds are not free, but Loop Cloud, that program is free, and they give you 5 or 10 new samples. I think it's weekly or something like that. So even if you didn't buy anything, you can build up a little library. Here's another great thing. You can drag and drop your own samples into Loop Cloud, and it has the same behavior. It'll take it and time stretch it so it fits perfectly the beats of what you're doing, and it'll transpose it into the key that you want. So if you have custom sound libraries, if you bought a sample CD and you have it sitting on your drive, if you went someplace and found free audio loops, you can just drag it and drop it right into Loop Cloud, and Loop Cloud will analyze it. And it's hard for you guys to see, but it tells you what key it's in. It tries to figure out whether it's a keyboard or a bass over here. It tells you what file it's in, whether it's a loop or a one-shot. A one-shot is like a gunshot, a bang, a crash. A loop is a beat that repeats over and over again in perfect sequence. And you can also code things, whether it's cool or disco or down tempo or ambient and all that kind of stuff. So let's keep going. That was a melody loop. Let's go find some vocal drops. I'm staying in the same category right now. All right. So let's go back. Let's go through a couple of these. I'm going to choose another set. I need a haircut! Now you get the idea what's going on. Loop Cloud, which is over here, this application is running simultaneously as your recording software. Your recording software can be Logic, it could be Ableton Live. If you go and search Google for Loop Cloud, this will come up, right? It's free to download. I'm going to show you how to buy sounds in a second. But so we're going through these sounds. I'm clicking on them over here. And the moment you click on them, find your sounds. So I'm going to take was it the second one we tried? I'm going to take this and hold it and drag it. It's telling me to keep my mouse button pushed down. It's building the file. And I'm now going to drag this into here. Okay. Now, can you see over here that it's a, whoops, sorry guys. Let's do it this way. This file is a little bit longer than our piece of music. So we can actually take this and shorten it over here. Just going to grab the edge of it and bring it over here. now we have here's a little inside trick. So what I personally like to do is, most applications have colors, right? So these are vocals. No, this is a vocal, and we'll color it red so I could find it. You don't have to color it, these things. And I can change from song to song. I usually like red as vocals. That's a flute sound. I don't know. What color is a flute to me today? It's cheery. It's yellowy, ishy, whatever. Here's a guitar. Guitars are, I don't know, purple, and this one is still a guitar, but it's you know, a little slightly different color purple. This is my bass line. Bass lines can be really, I'm giving it any color, and here's our first beat, and our first beat could be there. So I know at an instance, certain colors are certain things, so if I'm mixing and I have to grab it in a hurry and I can't see what's going on, oops, this didn't get the same color as this. Let's make that color, there we go. I want to push that guitar into a little reverb. I'm going to put it to ascend. The ascend has reverb. Let's get this other guitar. Whoops, why didn't I do it? Hello. +1, reverb. I'm going to show you guys how to do all this, so don't fret. That second clicker guitar. I want to put a little bass. I want to get a little of the bottom end out of this bass, and we're going to put a compressor on here. We're going to do a whole thing of compressors, so please, this is just an overview to show you how to do stuff. This compressor is going to, every compressor looks different, but what they do is basically the same. So don't get freaked out if you're opening different compressors, or the compressor in my program looks different than the compressor on yours. All the compressors look the same, right? I mean, work the same. They may have different interfaces, but that's just because they want to make theirs look pretty or so on. So, let me solo this bass line. This is with the compressor. This is without the compressor. You hear the volume difference? Let me turn the reverb off. Okay, I'd like that to be just a little bit punchier. You hear I got just a little bit punchier in there? I'm going to turn the compressor off. I want to show you something. At the very low and bottom, oh, you guys can't see that. Hold on, let me make this window smaller so you can see something. I want you to see something. Okay, here we go. This is on the very left-hand side in Logic. This first column here is a mixer, right? So if I bring this down, the volume will go down. If I bring it up, right? So I'm going to set this to 0. Okay. When I put the compressor in, let me take it down just a tiny bit. The volume's not going to jump that much. But the volume in your ears came up. So a compressor is a great way to increase volume perceptively without pegging your meters out and distorting it. Anyway, we'll do that as a whole separate session so you can figure out what's going on, but compressors will make your mixes sound good. All right, let's get a rough little mix of this. This is the mixing board. Let's open this up a little bit. I don't need my colors right now. I always turn off this. There we go. Okay, so I didn't name these things, but if you go in here and I call this drum, RUM drums, and then I go back over to this. Down at the bottom here, it says drums, right? So instrument 1 over here is really my bass line. Make this bass. And you can see back over here, whoops, wrong thing. Wait, come on, back to where we were, There we go. Now, channel 2 is bass. So this channel is the flute. And the channel below it is vocal. Oops, let's hide that. Vocal. Now if we go back to the mixing board, there we go. And this little instrument too happens to be the loop cloud input. Right? But I'm going to take loop cloud since we're not going to really need it and push this all the way off to the end. Okay, let's go back to our little mixer. Let's get a mix. All right, start with everything off. Oh, not that, that's our send. There we go. Let's bring everything down. Let's get a nice little balance. Drums, very important. I'm going to put a compressor on there. You're going to hear it change. I made them nice and punchy, huh? A little bit of distortion there that I like. Give this a little reverb. I'm going to do one more reverb because I want there to be a long, crazy reverb for the flute. Let's go put a reverb in here and set this reverb for, I know I'm going fast, but I promise you guys we will go over this stuff, you know. Let's do a cathedral, a long range. We will go over this, all right? It's a little too much reverb. Actually, I'm going to add to this reverb. I want this to spin around inside your head. Again, I promise you, I will show you all this stuff. I'm going to go to pan station. Here we go. Now, that little flute sound that you hear is going to swim from left to right. You do have your headphones on. Cool, huh? All right, now let's get that vocal going. Let's give that a little more reverb. Now, I actually want more reverb. Like, what are you talking about there? You know, that's crazy. There's so much reverb on there. Well, I'm going to add something even crazier, Valhalla Shimmer. And now when that vocal comes through, it's going to just... It's got this big sound to it. Okay, very, very basically, we've got our beats together. Then, if you want to make this longer, right, you can either take the edges of these things and extend it even longer like that. And let's go view secondary ruler. I got to make a quick little change in here so we could see the time. Synchronization. This is set up wrong. Let's go here. This is set up for film scoring. Okay. I turned on something called secondary ruler. It didn't update. Let's do it again. I'd be able to tell at a glance how long my song is. You know, am I doing a 45-minute dance track? No, I don't want to do a 45-minute dance track. Whoops. This should be 0, 0, 0. Even I screw it up. Let's see if that'll default. There we go. Okay. So, up on the top now, it's showing me how long the track is. If I was 4 minutes long or 3 minutes long, up here at the very top, it's hard for you guys to see on the small screens, but it's showing me how much time has gone by for our song. Now, right now, without looping it, our song is 14 seconds long. Ha! No, 8 seconds long, 9 seconds long, 10 seconds long, something like that. Anyway, you can go in there and start editing all this stuff. Let me zoom this out, and you could start making whole pieces with breakdowns and so on. Let's go in here and edit a little bit. I'll show you what we can do here real quick. We can get into this into depth. All right, so let's bring in the bass line for a bar, and then we'll bring in, I'm gonna push the bar thing. Let's bring in the guitar after that for a bar. And then we'll bring in the wah-wah guitar. But I don't want it to last as long. I want it to last just shorter. And then let's drop the drums in along with the flute. And then we're going to go ahead and just have the vocal come in. The vocal actually starts over here, so I'm going to bring this up to the ear. And do something like that. And then we're going to copy all this, and we're going to drag this over so it all drops in again. So our song is now 44 seconds long. So let's play it from the beginning, including drop-ins and drop-outs and all that kind of stuff there. Start from the beginning. See, I think that the bass line should have continued in here. Let's bring it back up to where everything. So this is like a word processor, and you're taking blocks of audio and MIDI, and you're putting them all together in arrangements. Let me open up a song that I've did so you can get an idea. The other day I had Fame open, so let me open up Fame again. Do you want to close the current project? Close it. Do I want to save it? I don't want to save it. So that's our song, but I'll show you what a complex piece of music. I'm going to go ahead and we'll go to Loop Cloud in just a second. Fame has a lot of stuff in it. take a second to open, but you get an idea of what a full session looks like. I'm running a Mac, what they call a trash can computer, and if you look down the lower right-hand corner, there's little blue VU meters. That's 12 computer processors in one. So here's what a big session looks like. Let me get this out of the way for you guys. And if I ran Fame, now I basically, so what I basically did is, what you saw me do before, I did the same thing here with just a little bit more precision, okay? You'll notice parts coming in and out, just like in the other thing where I have spaces in here, there are dropouts. I'm going to push it up so you can see the dropouts. It's not your brain. What's your name? What's your name? I'll show you how to do all these effects, by the way. That's my voice. Not a sample! I made that. So that's how basically you can take, I'm going to quit Logic, I want to show you guys LibCloud. No, please don't save, that's my mix, thank you. I want to show you guys LibCloud. Let me get LibCloud up and running. Where's LibCloud? Oh, here you are. So let's get back to LibCloud for a second, then we're going to finish this off. So as I showed you, you can get in here and you can find all kinds of drum loops and let's go to deep trap. Let's go to wave loops. Let's go to bass loops. There's everything in this sucker. Say you're not looking for a drum loops, maybe you're looking for effects. Oh, cinematic strings, monster staccatos. What's that? I have so many loop libraries. I don't get to see. Oh, that's cool. So they don't have to be beats, they can also be, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. These are one shots. Do I have any loops in this category? Yikes! Ooh, cool. So these are things that you can use as accents. Like, what the hell are you going to use that for? So you need fame, makes a man who takes things over. You could do that kind of stuff. So this is really great. So say you don't have this loop library like I have. Up here, the very first thing is new inspiration from Loop Masters. And what this is this week they're showing some stuff. So this is Middle Eastern instruments. Let's take a listen. Okay, pretty crazy. This one's called Mad Work Drum. All right. Yeah! Drop it! you get the idea. There's a huge resource here of sounds, right? Now this is free stuff that they're giving us. So there's hi-hats, there's drums, there's kick drums. Right? That's the free stuff. Now, you can go in here and you switch over to store. Check this out. You see all that stuff? These are all sample CDs that different DJs, remixers. Here's a friend, and here's Carl Cox, guy from my time. You can go ahead and click this. Come on, Carl. Wake up. Wake up, Carl. I hope Blue Crowd didn't crash. You can go in here and you can step into these, I think Loop Crowd, oh, no, it didn't. Okay, so here's the Carl Cox library. It's 1.8 gigabytes. It has 36 bass loops, 88 break loops, 53 drum loops. It's $39.95. These are not free, but if you go into here, they come in Rex files. They also come in sampler patches. So if you have the ESX24, which is built into Logic, you just take one of these files and you download it and you open it, and that'll be in your sampler. So you don't have to play the drum loops that they give you. You could rearrange these loops and patterns. There's Hallion, there's Contact, all these samplers are here. There are Rex files, but let's get into the Carl Cox. There's drum loops here. Takes a second to download these and play them. All right, you get these ideas, right? Then there's break loops, all kinds of got that, right? Then there's groove loops. Now remember, Loop Master will put this into the key of your song. Check this out. I'm going to transpose this to fit your song. Down here on the bottom. Oh, you guys can't see it. I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting my banners there. Let me raise this up just a tiny bit so you guys can see that in there. There we go. Loop Master's on the bottom here. I'm going to, right here, I'm going to transpose with this little fader. Now what you could do is you could take 3 or 4 of those transposes and drag them and pull them off, and it'll save it in that transpose. How cool is that? So you do, if your song goes C, F, G, you could take it in C, then take it in F, then take it in G, and drag those things in, and you don't have to do anything but drag it in, and it's in the key that you want. These are pre-existing, loops. So as you can see, this is pretty cool. I'm going to get out of Carl Cox for a minute, but this is $39. What you do is you go in, you sign up, you put in your payment information, PayPal, and I mean, there's trap, there's dance, there's you just go in and you can find actual instruments, tablas, finger cymbals, marimbas, sound effects, downshifters, ambience, atmosphere, string pads, vocoder. Let's see what's in vocoder. It's searching. It's going to take a second. All right, let's see what's in vocoder. Cool.
Nobody does it like we do.
You get the idea. So you can go in here and choose whatever kind of instruments. Or you can go into genres. You're looking for funk or jungle or dubstep. There's all kinds of formats in here, whether they're WAV files. You could only take WAV files. You could filter everything out by that. What's the additional over here? Nothing. You could figure out what key is in. You just tell it you want anything from 126 to 130 BPMs, and it's doing a search right now through its massive. It's got hundreds of thousands of samples on here, and these are only loops within 126 on 130 BPM. And like I said, this is free software, and you can drag and drop your software into this. And when you do that, you're part of this search system. So you don't have to be in the store to do this. You could be looking at your own library, and you can search for loops. All right, guys, that should take you pretty far down the path of what it's like to produce music, and glad you guys are listening in. Thank you so much, and thanks for listening in. I'll be doing a lot of these, and I'm going to try to go Sundays live at noon and answer your questions. So you have questions about what's going on, let me know, and let's make this happen for you. Thanks, everybody.